Latin 1, I promised you one final lesson, and this is it. These are reflexive pronouns. Honestly, your book doesn't do a very good job of talking about reflexive pronouns, but page 254 and the top of 255, they give you a little bit, okay? There is some explanation, which is nice, because I will give you exercises after that. Also, on page 269, they don't do a very good job of giving you a list of reflexive pronouns there either. So you're going to need this video, okay? I've made it for you. First, let's explain what a reflexive pronoun is. Sometimes you just want to do a verb to yourself, a transitive verb, okay? You want to hide yourself. You want to see yourself. You want to hear yourself. You want to do all those kinds of things, okay? You want to love yourself. You want to hug yourself, that kind of thing. So when you want to make a transitive verb happen to yourself, that's when you use a reflexive pronoun. It doesn't exist in the nominative case, by the way. Reflexive pronouns only exist in what are called the oblique cases, and oblique just basically means not nominative. Okay? So, there we go. Because different verbs take different cases sometimes. So we will see a list pretty soon that will not have the nominative on it, all right? I still leave the space for it out of habit, but it's just blank. So there are certain verbs that take more than just the accusative, okay? So a transitive verb takes the accusative case, no problem. But there are some compounded verbs, verbs that have a preposition added to them that previously weren't transitive, and now they kind of translate as such. Those take the dative. So propinquo, propinquare will take the dative case. Occurro, occurrere, that's why it takes the dative case. There are a number of other verbs that will also take the dative. Placeo, placere will take the dative, to be pleasing to someone. Noceo, nocere, to do harm to someone. Those take the dative just by virtue of the fact that that's how they translate best. And then there's other verbs that actually take the genitive. The verb for to remember is to be remembering of something. And the verb for to be forgetful is to be forgetful of something. So those both take the genitive. And then there's some verbs that take the ablative case. You'll learn a lot more of them in second level. But on occasion, verbs that have to do with using something or spending something, those kind of just take an ablative of instrument anyway. So we have all those forms in the reflexive because that's how that works. Let's take a look at first and second declension, or not declension, first and second person reflexive pronouns. So like I said, no nominatives, okay? So, and I just gave you singulars and plurals across the board. There's no song, sorry. So, mei and noster, nostra, nostrum. Tui and wester, westra, westrum. Just kind of depends on who's doing what to themselves, okay? The dative is mihi and nobis. The dative in the second is tibi and vobis. The accusative is me and nos. The accusative in the second is te and vos. The ablative is me, again, and nobis. And the ablative in the second is te and vobis. That should be a V, not an N. I apologize. I'm going to write that in right now with a different color, red. There you go. Te and vobis. See? I don't actually edit these. So te and vobis, like I said. So that is the first and second person reflexive pronouns. Don't worry, I'll give you examples. Okay. Now let's look at the third person reflexive pronouns. Very simple, because the singulars and plurals are exactly the same, and they're exactly the same across all three genders. So there's no nominative, and it's just sui, sibi, se, say. And in the feminine, it's the same, and in the neuter, it's the same. It's nice. So that's what the pronouns look like. Now, let's talk about how to use them. Here's a few sentences for you, okay? Cyrus in sekelat raida. And I did that for style points. In raida is where he hid himself, so the words he hid himself are inside the words for the carriage. So Cyrus hides himself in the carriage. Say, he's doing it to himself. Sexte, te fer per vias. Sextus, take yourself through the streets. Notice he's telling him to do it to himself. And then the puellae sibi ad quietam dederunt. The girls gave themselves to rest, which is the Latin way of saying you took a nap. Notice that that's a dative because they gave themselves to rest. Okay, so they gave to themselves toward rest. It's weird. It's a weird construction, but that's how it works. So that's essentially the reflexive verbs now, or the reflexive pronouns. Now, to put it all together, okay, the pronouns, the possessive adjectives, the reflexive pronouns. What I want you to do is take a look at exercise 27A, 27B, and 27C, and do all of those. Each one will exercise a different thing. So pull up that video while you're doing it. Then I want you to do 27D and 27E. 27E is special because it's on page 257, and there's a part there about compound verbs. Essentially, if you just put a preposition on the front of a verb, you can turn an intransitive verb into a almost transitive verb. So a lot of them will end up taking the dative. So that's essentially it as far as the grammar goes. From here on out, it's translations. And now that you've done all these exercises, now I want you to go back and start translating everything. Okay? Also, for extra extra practice, do review 6, all of them. Just do them all. You need the practice. You know you do. Just do them all. Send them to me. They're long and they're dull and they're boring and they're thoughtless, but it's getting those reps in because we don't have that time together in class. So do them all. The story is kind of fun. It's some serious Roman badassery, and I will end with translating with that one. But do all of review 6. Only do that once you're done with the translations on all the rest, though. Okay? Because then that'll help just kind of re-cement everything. So that's basically it for all the grammar. If you have stuck with it this far, if you've done all the exercises, if you've found within you the discipline necessary, you're going to be just fine for level 2. And if not, I'll help you review. Don't worry. From here on out, it's going to be translation, translation, translation. But as it's past midnight for me, I'll do translations probably tomorrow night. All right, I'm going to hit the button.